If their behavior was a language, what would it be telling you? Guys, if you got out of a relationship and you're currently trying to figure out where it all went wrong, or if you're still in a relationship and you're trying to figure out if this relationship is good or bad for you, right? If you're trying to decipher this other, your partner's language, I think this might help. So everybody puts on a mask, right? Whether you consciously know or it's unconscious, we all put on a mask, right? We want everybody, especially our partner, to see the best version of us, right? So naturally that means hiding the parts of us that we don't want them to see. So we're putting on a mask, right? But not only are they putting on a mask, you are projecting your ideal fantasy version of them onto them, right? And making excuses and justifications for why they're not meeting it, right? When they can never live up to that version, live up to that fantasy version of who you want them to be, because it's impossible, because nobody is perfect, right? But naturally, people are gonna want to try to keep this fantasy version. They're gonna lie to you, right? They're going to get you gifts. They're going to love bomb you. They're going to do everything to make it seem like this is a once in a lifetime connection, right? So guys, how do you know when somebody is telling you the truth? If we're all wearing masks, if we're all projecting on each other, if we're all mirrors, how do we know when somebody's being honest with us? And it took me a really long time to figure this out, right? And it seems very simple, but we have to stop taking people at their word. And when I mean stop, I mean like full stop. Like, you can believe somebody at like the most basic human level, but that doesn't mean you never second guess it, because people lie. And the best way to know when somebody is lying to you, when they say one thing and do the other, is you start treating behavior as a separate language. You know, there's English, there's Spanish, there's all these auditory languages, right, that we speak and say and hear and understand. And then there's a separate language, call it whatever you want, but it's the language of behavior, right? And that means actions. That means what people do, which is the most important thing, because believe it or not, love is a verb. It's doing, it's serving. It's how can I help the other person, right? So guys, that's when we ask ourselves, right? Think of your current situation that you're dealing with right now with your ex, with your current partner or whatever, and just ask yourself, if their behavior was a language, what would it be telling me, right? So for example, if you just caught your partner in a lie, right? Ask yourself, the lie was a language, what would it be telling me? Well, it would tell me that they're hiding something. Tell me they probably don't respect me if I caught them in this lie. And if it's a big lie, it probably means they've lied about other big things. That's not good, guys, obviously, right? Another example, your ex, right? Your last relationship. They talk trash about all their partners, right? And now they're talking trash about you. What does that tell you? It tells you this person doesn't have the emotional capability to handle strong emotions and take any sort of accountability. So instead of making any sort of introspection and looking within, they blame all external factors. They blame everybody but themselves. And the most obvious person to blame is your ex, right? So if this person has a history of blaming all their partners, and now they're blaming you, now they're blasting you online saying you're the worst person, right? That is an indication that the person that you thought they were never existed, right? This person has poor communication skills. This person has little accountability. This person is not emotionally mature, not emotionally available, not able to process the relationship in a healthy way, which means for you, there is no way this relationship was ever going to work out, right? Because this person was not able to handle conflict in a healthy, mature way. That's what that tells you, right? You see, instead of trying to figure out, oh, why are they talking shit about me on Facebook? Why are they subtweeting me? Why are they doing all these things, right? And you try to get into the details of it. Well, I said this because of that, or they're saying I did this to them, but they're not saying any of the context behind it. Instead of getting sucked into that world of, semantics, right? Just think about the why. Why are they doing this? Do they have a history of doing this, right? Like, don't get sucked into it. I'm serious. Like, it's not worth it. Speaking from somebody who has been sucked into it, who was just like so torn apart from it, trying to understand how the version of who I thought they were could be capable of doing this. But once I understood language as a behavior, right, I realized that version of that version of them that I was grieving never existed, right? It's so freeing. It brings you such an overwhelming wave of serenity, of calm, of peace, right? It's not worth it, guys. Don't get sucked into the weeds of trying to figure out all the little details about where the relationship is going wrong, where the relationship went wrong in this instant, in this time and date, in this situation. Don't get sucked into it, guys. Behavior is a language. Believe it. Believe what they're telling you with their actions. And I know you've probably heard this before, but I need you to internalize it.